What if hospitality is not what we do for the homeless, but what the homeless do for us? What if our need to find out their needs is to try to cover over the fact that they may know our needs? What if their job is said to heal us, and all we've done is taken our needs, shared them with each other, and we call it middle-class culture? What have we done to fool ourselves into thinking that these people need us, when in reality, we desperately need them? Not so that we feel good, but so that we can hear God say, I know. This hurts, I know. Is our faith leading us to heal others? Or is our faith leading us to see others as those who have been sent to heal us? And that mission in ministry is the hospitality of receiving the crucified and resurrected Christ in our lives.
It is the work of the Brotherhood to witness to the love of God in Christ Jesus, which has been freely bestowed upon us and upon all of creation. This witness grows and is nurtured by a life in conversation with God, and is nourished daily by active prayer and meditation while living fully in the secular world.
Thomas Merton's Contemplation in a World of Action sums it up pretty well. The idea that we are engaged in all sorts of ministries, all sorts of work, but we also are called to an inner stillness, a kind of contemplative attitude, even while we're in the midst of things. That seems to be the real core of Gregorian spirituality, that balance between a life of prayer and meditation while fully active in the physical world, the world around us.
There is a great deal of challenge in trying to live the religious life while living fully in the world. You don't quite have the safety of beautiful gardens and enclosed walls to make approaching the spiritual life easy. Here we were asked to balance real life with an approach to the spiritual life that it takes a lot of discipline, an awful lot.
And when I retired the first time from the fire department, I really didn't retire. I actually was working full-time in the port. And that was a very difficult time for me. It was a time when I rationalized prayer and meditation and service to be the same thing. And so there were times, actually, when I had to choose between service and prayer, or service and meditation, and I chose service. Mistakenly, looking back, I think mistakenly thinking that I was actually doing a prayer by doing service, or meditating by doing service. But in hindsight, I would say that there came a point when I questioned whether the service was not as an offering to God, but just kind of in the means of itself. Because God, at some point, seemed to be absent from the service. And the service became the primary focus rather than serving God as the primary focus. It's not easy. It's not easy, and I don't envy anybody in this community who tries to balance their meditation and their prayer life while they're working full-time, if they have a family, if they have other responsibilities.
It is the work of the Brotherhood to witness to the love of God in Christ Jesus, which has been freely bestowed upon us and upon all of creation. This witness grows and is nurtured by a life in conversation with God, and is nourished daily by active prayer and meditation while living fully in the secular world.
The church doesn't make you holier in times like this, Sometimes the days get away from you when you're working in the church, especially with me. I'm working in 2 separate church buildings in 2 separate cities. And so I have to travel between there. And it's not always it's not always the most fun time, getting from one to the other.
But I believe that the sisters in the Visitation Order, all these years, have safeguarded and protected that kernel, people of prayer at work in the world, until someone would come along and unleash that power. I believe that's what happened with us. There's a parallel here because we were founded as an active community and almost fell into the trap of going to a house and closing ourselves off and doing the same thing the same way every day. That in itself is a very valid form, and we draw from that tradition, but I believe that our inspiration is quite different.
But at one point, we thought it would be a really good thing if we could find an abandoned church someplace with a rectory, and we could all go there and live there and keep the parish going if it was a dead parish and do all kinds of good things. And so we found a church, I forget where it was now, up in Upper Westchester, and we talked about that and sent him a letter. And I went down and met with him. We met, and he said, if you do this, you will die. This is not what the community is about. You do not want to go to a building. You don't want to own a building. It's not what you're about. He saved us, because we could have been a very different expression, and maybe even not be around.
A brother will develop the talents given to him by God in his service in the work and worship of the church. A brother shall use these talents to the best of his ability in the apostolate and ministry to which he is called.
It's a very small parish choir and small church, actually. So they understand ministry to one another. They see themselves as ministers, and now they've brought me into their midst. I try to be not just their leader, but I try to be a brother in that setting.
Many of you know that I've played the organ for over 27 years. And I realize that I still haven't got it right. There are colleagues of mine and associates who always have it right. And they never make mistakes. I think that's too bad. Because there's no place to learn and there's no place to grow.
A brother will develop the talents given to him by God in his service in the work and worship of the church. A brother shall use these talents to the best of his ability in the apostolate and ministry to which he is called.
And the brothers have been pivotal, and as I've gone into the process of discernment, seminary, and ordination, you all have been with me every step of the way, supporting me both financially and prayerfully, and with brothers coming and visiting me at seminary. The lifeline was always there. And so the brothers have supported me in this, and gratitude is always expressed.
I ran a lunch program, actually, at Church of the Advent in San Francisco for about a year and a half. And it was called the Lunch Bunch. It was on Tuesdays, and I provided meals for homeless men mostly, and occasionally some women. And I probably would not have done that had I not been a brother. It just suddenly I felt called that I needed to start feeding the Lord's sheep. And it was powerful for me. And I had never thought that my way of contributing would be monetarily. I'd have given money, donated. But suddenly I felt like I needed to get involved. I needed to get out there. I needed to meet these people. I needed to spend more time with them. And that probably would not have occurred if I had not been a brother. And I was only a novice when I did that, actually. But it began to open my mind and my heart. And I didn't know Brother Ron then, as he did much work with the homeless. But I just felt called to it, and it was a very beautiful ministry.
I never even thought I would be a hospital chaplain. I'm a hospital chaplain because of here. When I was a novice, I went to church at St. Bartholomew's in White Plains because there was a group of brothers that were there all the time, Richard and some others. And the visiting priest was the director of pastoral care at Westchester Medical Center, Donald Bain. And it just struck me that maybe I should talk to him about doing hospital visitation. And I talked to him, and he said, yeah, sure, come up and see me. We could work something out. And I just started volunteering there one day a week. And then from that, I got into CPE. And from that, I got into CPE supervision. And then from that, now I'm the director of pastoral care at White Plains Hospital. So you just never know.
A brother will develop the talents given to him by God in his service in the work and worship of the church. A brother shall use these talents to the best of his ability in the apostolate and ministry to which he is called.